Hello, Dr. Montaigne here. I am going to show you how to use semicolons, those pesky things. I know you've probably always wondered how to use them and had no idea. So just like with commas and sentence patterns, there are rules for using semicolons. You don't have to guess, and sorry, you don't get to make it up either. That's left to someone else. So, rule number one is to separate main clauses in a compound sentence. And we've already studied the 4 sentence patterns, so you should know what a compound sentence is. Otherwise, you can either Google it or look it up in your handbook. Okay, replace the coordinating conjunctions with a semicolon. So the coordinating conjunctions, as you know, are the fanboys: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. And always the comma rule for that is to put a comma before using one of these conjunctions in a compound sentence. The main rule for compound sentences is that there is a complete clause on either side of the conjunction. So this is the conjunction here, comma, and. This is the first clause, which is a complete clause on its own. That means it could stand alone by itself as a sentence. So a new ulcer drug arrived on the market with a mixed reputation. It has a subject and a verb and a complete meaning, which are our rules for a sentence. But in the English language, we have sentence patterns where we want to add on an idea to further develop that idea. Comma, and doctors find that the drug works but worry about its side effects. So that is the second clause. Again, these could be separate sentences on their own with a period in between them. However, in this case, in a compound sentence, you put in one of the coordinating conjunctions. But there is a different way to approach it, and that is to use a semicolon. A newer way to do it, meaning sometime in the last 100 years, this new rule came up, and that is you could replace the coordinating conjunction altogether with a semicolon. A semicolon means that there are 2 equal ideas being joined, sometimes because they have a cause and effect relationship, or the second part explains in some way the first part. And so we have a new ulcer drug arrived on the market with a mixed reputation. Doctors find that the drug works but worry about its side effects. And so in this case, we have the semicolon. That is a modern construction. The traditional construction of this is with a transitional expression or a conjunctive adverb. Conjunctive adverbs are however, moreover, therefore, even so, etc. So you can look up what conjunctive adverbs are. There are 3 different types, just to remind you, of conjunctions that add clauses together. There's coordinating conjunctions, conjunctive adverbs, and also subordinating conjunctions. And those are 3 separate kinds that you need to know the difference between. Anyway, in this case we have a new ulcer drug arrived on the market with a mixed reputation, semicolon, however, comma. So it's semicolon, however, comma after it. So this is the traditional construction of how to use a semicolon. The only other way you would use it is after a colon if there are sentences that have commas in them. So if it was just comma, 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 comma all over the place endlessly, it would be very difficult to tell the difference between the list that is being made. So we have the set sounds and actors in the movie captured the essence of horror films. The set was ideal: dark, deserted streets, trees dripping their branches over the sidewalks, mist hugging the ground and creeping up to meet the trees, looming shadows of unlighted, turreted houses. There should be a period here. The sounds, too, were appropriate. Especially terrifying was the hard, hollow sound of footsteps echoing throughout the film. So in this case, we have just a straightforward compound sentence with a semicolon dividing up the 2 clauses. Remember, there could be a period here. But the best feature of the movie was its actors, all of them pale and thin to the point of emaciation. Notice that in this sentence, it's just commas. This is a non-essential element here and could be taken out. With one exception, they were dressed uniformly in gray and had gray hair. In this case, this is an introductory element. None of these elements here that are set off with commas are clauses. The exception was an actress who dressed only in black as if to set off her pale yellow, nearly white long hair, the only color in the film. Again, no semicolons. The glinting black eyes of another actress stole almost every scene. Indeed, they were the source of the film's mischief. So here we have the conjunctive adverb. And that's it. These are your only choices. So don't try to stick semicolons where a comma belongs. That is the most common mistake. However, I do want to encourage you to use semicolons. Try them out. Usually the first few times you don't get them quite right, but try anyway. Here are some further examples. Sunlight is made up of 3 kinds of radiation. Here's a list. Visible rays, infrared rays, which we cannot see, and ultraviolet rays, which are also invisible. And ultraviolet rays can damage the retina. Furthermore, they can cause cataracts on the lens. So that's it. Now you're an expert at using semicolons.